Thanks, Amber. Now, that is a keen overview on how multiple clouds can radically transform your approach. Now, India Cloud Summit 21 is active on social media. ICS21, that's the hashtag where all the buzz is alive on Twitter and LinkedIn. Drop by there and join in the conversation. And our editorial teams are on standby to choose some great winners. So, hashtag ICS21. That's the digital destination for the next 2 days. Now, moving ahead, right here at the India Cloud Summit, when it comes to cloud, should you modernize or migrate? And well, this debate can go down to the wire, and it's certainly one that has strong viewpoints. And our next panel will dive into this rabbit hole. Please welcome Girish Hadkar, the Vice President and Head of IT at Tata Realty and Infrastructure Limited, Abhay Bhapna, the Associate Vice President of Technology at Adani Wilmar, and our session moderator, Abhinav Johri, the Director for Digital and Cloud Consulting at EY. Now, our panelists on this session are showcasing their individual opinion and not necessarily allied to their organizations. With that, it's over to Abhinav Johri to lead this discussion.
Thank you, Ashwin, for inviting all of us for today's session. And thank you, Mr. Girish and Mr. Abhay, for joining us. Very interesting topic. And I look forward for the next 25 minutes talking about what has been our experience collectively, especially when our organizations or in general, people have thought through about the cloud adoption. So without further ado, I think the first question I would like to have this discussed between amongst all three of us is the cloud adoption in particularly has gained its acceptance far more than what we all have experienced in many years, especially the past 2 years. And the debate between how we should go about it, whether the migration or the modernization, we all know it's a function of which organization, where we are in the journey, what the maturity of the company itself is. But let me start just having a very open conversation about it. In your own experience and wisdom, between the migration and also the modernization, or even modernization-led migration, what has been your experiences and some tidbits around how have you seen this journey in your own organization or otherwise in the industry at large?
Yeah. So you want me to go first, Abhinav?
Of course, Girish, please go on.
Yeah, sure. So when we were on the legacy systems, or whenever you are on a legacy system and you have the option of doing something better, I think that's a disruption or a discontinuity. And then the question that the management poses is, okay, how do we take advantage of this discontinuity? I mean, it's always an opportunity to do something better. And I think that has been an adage that we keep on following. Uh, so, and you rightly pointed out, it all depends on at what stage you are currently at that point of time in the organization. So when was your last upgrade that has happened? I mean, how old are your systems? I mean, that play a very critical part, and they form a key element. Now, for me personally, currently I'm working with Tata Realty for a year and a half. We were three different organizations that got merged into a single organization. So again, there was a discontinuity and opportunity to do something better. Previously, even with Piramal, and with Piramal Reality was a startup, and we wanted to create something right from scratch. And with Mahindra Life Spaces also, we went on a journey where we had to re-implement to be ready for the digital future.
Yeah.
Now all these are opportunities, and these have actually made us realize that there is a need to change the IT operating model. So and that's how the cloud first approach came in, and that's become the main part. And the reason is, uh, how do you take care of the digital transformation solutions that are available all around? How do you make it very easy? How do you make it very fast? How do you make it innovation led? So these are the criteria that came to the mind. And I'll give you a simple example. Now, the erstwhile document management system, we were all focused on how do we store data for information dissemination. And today, if you see, that entire need has changed. The need has changed from getting data. How do we collaborate and work towards using that data for business outcomes? using that data to drive innovation. Now, if that is the need, then why should not I go to the cloud and identify a ready-made platform which provides me the benefit of both collaboration as well as productivity?
That's right.
I mean,
Correct.
yeah. So that's my take on it.
Perfect. Abhi, I'd like to particularly probe what kind of decision criteria one can really apply as a CIO or as a CIO organization between choosing, do I go migration first or do I go via modernization onto the cloud?
So it all depends on what type of business you are, what is current state of business,
Yeah,
what management wants to do it for next 3 years, because it's nothing but a vision, like, where you want to, whether you want to have your own infrastructure at your own place, or you want to have it a best in class solution which are available in the market. But it is all business value driven, business goal driven, because over a period of time, like, people used to earlier have managed services which was managed by somebody, including hardware support and everything. Now the things have little bit changed. We call it as a cloud or cloud transformation. So what checklist is more of from the key component, which first thing comes in is my data secured. Second is tools are available. Will I get access on the platform where I'm trying to migrate? Because what happens is, when you are in-house, everything is under your control. Now you don't have control. It is unknown. So how do I get the information which was available on my fingertip through that monitoring tool or controlling tool, or my data is secured, my file systems are secured. These are the things which, like, first comes in the mind, that before I do, first analyze your business requirement. What is your technology requirement? Because last 5 years, if you see, really what has changed is mobility has changed. So mobility driven data has now is used there, and IoT based data. So what happens is, there is an explosion of data which is happening. Earlier we had a ERP, CRM, so we are restricted to within
that's
the
right.
database system. Now what
Correct.
has happened? Explosion. Every company has, like, in any mobile device itself right now, you have 20 plus sensors which collect your data and feeds it to somebody. Now what is happening is, same is the case with, like, when you give the data platform or a application to a salesman, you can capture many things, from location to geo to check-in, check-out, or all the details whether he has really gone. Same is the case with the manufacturing side. Like, when you try to add more sensors, more uh, tags, we call it tags. These are tags and sensors which are 24/7 used in a plant for monitoring, like, utilities or predictive maintenance, or preventive maintenance, which we call it. So if you want to use this data, you need some other, you cannot have your own platform, but you need to think of something which is out of box, and you have to take data. Some data will be at edge level, some data will be at cloud. So therefore, these are things which helps you to take better decision. Another thing is the example of DR backup. How do you do it? Can you do it? You need your own team. You need your, from, like, so many resources are needed, timing, and there are many things which is now moved to somebody else, which is nothing but a cloud, where these two things are taken care at that end. And apart from that, infrastructure is the key component, where you get a flexibility, agility, and it all depends on business, which vision, direction, which gets converted into, I will call it as a KPI, and therefore you have to plan accordingly, that what are my infrastructure needs, what are my future needs. If I knew in last 6-7 years, if you see, startup environment has come up. Yeah. So that is also changing way you have your applications organized, and that is how you have to replan your thing, because started up application or SaaS based application, where the things are very agile. Like, it's not like, you have to set up, they come out, you plug in your system,
Yeah,
and then start working.
yeah.
And of course, last but the not the least one is the uh, cost component, which everybody talks about, but that's okay.
And I was just going to come on that. It's a nice segue. See, most of the organizations, and typically, by virtue of my own profession, I do get the opportunity to speak with leaders like yourselves. The initial hypothesis of even thinking about cloud is often driven by the cost economics of it. And attached with the cost is the benefits, which either can be in the area of data modernization, with the application modernization, and the related innovation which business expects out. Most often, what has been proven over past 3 to 4 years, since the time the hyperscalers have gone aggressive and there is a flexibility in the adoption, even the enterprise agreement, what they offer to help adopt more of a cloud. Now, the cost variation between a typical lift and shift or a modernization program is not too vary. However, the organizations have been still skeptical in even thinking about adopting cloud native architecture 100%. So it's another good probe area to talk about that how the management is being told, is being convinced about what lies as a benefit for them in the cloud if they were to think beyond cost economics. For example, does it simply make sense to let go the data centers what we have been running versus think about more of innovation on the application side. Therefore, it makes sense that modernization should be encouraged. I'm very keen to know how management have seen or have how they themselves have gotten mature when the topic has come to this point.
It was like initially, from my experience point of view, wherever I worked, what was happening was like, do you want to build your own infrastructure at your own place? Plus, at the same time, infrastructure is one component, cost is definitely it is a key component, and third is the security of the data. Now, what type of data you want to move to the cloud? Like IoT data is one component where you measure utilities or maintenance information. So
Yeah.
what everybody needs to divide into what are the things which we need to keep in-house based on the criticality, based on the business decision, and what needs to be now if you have to really go to the cloud migration or a new solution, then definitely you have a scope where you can show that if I have to maintain the same application in-house, the cost is higher in the sense that you have to have a resource skills and all the things backup and all layers of the iceberg layer where it is only management sees only higher outside the water, but inside there are 7-8 more components which are not visible. So we have to make them aware. We have to say these are the cost component, and if you go with the cloud, these are the thing. Yes, definitely there will be cost, but agility, speed, and because of changing times, the data volume, variety, velocity, everything is increased. So in
Mr.
order
Avi,
to
I'll sorry I interrupt your thought, but I also want to introduce another element that you rightly mentioned in the narrative, which is about the sustainability of the cloud program, which is often the function of the talent which we have in-house or depending upon the relationship with our vendor partners.
yes.
So, so Mr. Girish, in your own experience, how much of the dependency on the skill set, talent availability, even the know-how on the sustenance of the cloud adoption program has influenced the decision making between whether it has to be lift and shift or the modernization?
Yeah, if I heard you correctly, you're talking about the tech fluency about the cloud program available with the IT
Tech
team, right?
fluency, digital
Yes.
fluency, yes. How much of the, it has been able to
Okay.
influence.
No, perfect. And just I mean, taking a step back to your previous question, where Abhay also said today agility and speed has become a norm, and although cost is a component, but if there is again what he said, if there is considerable value that's going to be delivered through technology, then businesses are not looking back. And for somebody like us, which are a lean organization, I don't have 25 people in my IT team. So obviously, I have an outsourced model. Now, whether I own that outsourced model or I completely go onto a system where somebody else is doing it end to end for me. So whether I want to retain parts of it with me or I completely outsource it. I think that's the question that you have in mind. And we are more of business
That's right.
IT today.
Yeah.
We are more of business IT today. I want my people to be working on things that are going to add business value. I want to work them shoulder to shoulder with the business teams and say, okay, these are the areas where we can make a difference to you. This is a way. And this also goes to the tech fluency of the business teams. I mean, lot of vendors are now approaching our business teams and telling them, okay, this is a simple solution. I can implement it for you in 15 days. and then they come back to us and saying, yeah, why are you guys going to take 3 months and 6 months to do? So it's a learning for both, for my team, that there are more than one ways of doing the same
Right,
thing,
right.
whereas for the business teams also, that they also need to take care of a lot of other things other than just implementing tech in 15 days.
That's
and
correct.
and just one point on your
Yeah.
cloud migration strategy. See, what is now more become more important, to determine the cloud migration strategy, you need to have three things in place. One, you need to have a very sound and robust integration strategy, because you will keep on getting these solutions coming in, and how do you integrate it to your core digital DNA. The second part is going to be your enterprise data strategy, because
Correct.
what's the data that's going to be
Yeah.
required, and once you have that figured out, then it's no longer a issue. Uh, if it all goes to your data warehouse, then you can manage anything. And recently, over the last, I can say 3 months or 6 months, what we have seen is, I need to have a robust AI/ML strategy also, because each solution is coming with its own AI/ML. Now my analytics is giving an AI/ML, my conversational platform is giving an AI/ML, my ERP has an AI/ML component, my CRM has an AI/ML. Now, how do I use all those AI/ML, and how, where do they all merge? So I think these are also some factors which need to be considered.
That is very true.
And if
And
we have them
this also makes me think, Girish and Abhay, is that often the articulation of the value, especially which translates into the business outcome, besides having the best of the native architectures, best of the integration architectures, I mean, besides solving all the good stuff in the technology, which is often the function of the tech fluency and the vendor partners' capability, one of the continuous challenge which I also witness is the conversion into a business articulation for the business, because that's where the maximum resistance comes in. So what we are noticing in the market, especially post second wave of COVID, that the general acceptance or the general inertia around the cloud, any which ways, has come down. But that's also the function of what business side are we talking about. So we notice most revenue focused applications, they still continue to face same questions: that is it secure, is it good, do I need to still disturb what's running best, what's my value outcome. So from your own strategies which you would have followed and the conversation you would have, how have you gone about articulating the value of a migration versus a modernization?
So, see, Abhinav,
Yeah.
to tell you,
Avani.
what has worked for me is being in real estate sector, and I have less of
Yeah.
these challenges. And you would understand that real estate sector has been one of those sectors which were known as laggards in adopting technology.
Indeed,
Today,
yes, yeah.
fortunately, we are not. The amount of investments that we have done, and where we are today. But
Yeah.
and the whole prop tech piece, if you see, is coming up in a huge way. Uh,
Absolutely.
so,
Yes.
so I think what was happening to manufacturing a decade back is something that's happening to real estate today.
Right.
And the business leaders themselves are so keen. I mean, I have my MD and CFO demanding things from me. My HR head comes and says, "Okay, Girish, I want you to implement this." So that's a different sort of challenge. But
Right.
revenue, would say, is not something that I have personally faced in my previous role with Mahindra's. I knew. I mean, it all depends on what investments you have done in the past. If that
Correct.
has not been substantial, then I think you are better sorted.
And
That way.
before I come to Mr. Abhay, Girish reminded me one of the very sought after metric to demonstrate that there has a value outcome, especially in the real tech or prop tech conversation, is either to demonstrate that there's a huge amount of return on marketing investment, or your cost of customer acquisition, which typically used to be pretty much high because you have a lot of collaterals going in a printed form to your customers. In fact, the sales per pursuit from a walk-in to a prospective customer typically used to be high. And I'm seeing a lot of focus upon these KPIs, which particularly demonstrate back that how we have been able to impact the top line, what kind of an ATL, BTL activities have been going in order to reduce the sales cycle and conversion of the product. Real estate continues to still face the issue that you need to touch the wall before you buy that thing, even
Right.
before the transaction happens.
Yeah, but I think that has changed during the pandemic. I mean, what you said
Yeah,
was perfect. I mean, जब तक site visit होगा नहीं, flat book होगा नहीं. I
yes,
mean,
correct. That's right.
perfect. And that also, if you see, the person you will first go and visit on your own. If you like that place, then you'll come with your family. Maybe
Right.
also with few friends, and so this is what I'm buying and
Yes.
what do you feel and this view and all that. So I think that is one area which where we have seen a drastic change, and that is what led to our CX. So we have before, I mean, in addition to robust CRM, we have we have the customer app, we have the virtual reality walkthroughs which are available,
Yeah.
which they can. We have the drones which have taken the views from different floors, which we showcase to the people, and we have facilitated online sales. I mean, you just go and pay a token amount, and your flat is booked. You get to see what's available, and you book it. So that ecosystem is something I know it's very basic. I mean, if you read Gartner, tomorrow it's going to get into multimodal, multi-sensory, and we have to be ready to it. How does again the integration piece that I said? How does AR VR merge with my CRM, with the analytics I'm driving, with the sentiment analytics, and then you personalize even the
Right.
chatbot, the conversational platform? I think a lot of things to be done there.
Yeah.
We have a, I mean,
Yeah. Let me also take Mr. Abey's view. I know we are doing good on time, but before I move to some concluding questions, Mr. Abey, how have you demonstrated value back to the management? What's the articulation?
So, like first and foremost was ROI of that cost of ownership and ROI of that company. Because right now, when you have your own infrastructure, the cost structure is different. When you go to the cloud, some of
Yeah.
or majority of the things are shared. So costs should come down. But if you really see, a lot of new technology has come over a period of time in infrastructure component and the application. Now, do you need to have your own resource, team, skills, which is not possible? So you depend on the experts and you depend on the specialists, where both application point of view and infrastructure. That's how we went about. And now the thing has changed from the point of view is the management is like, asking too many things to be, because they are seeing too many things in the market. Everybody is saying, even child is saying, and they are demanding this also, that also. So that is what is changing, and the need of the solution. You cannot go for a 7-8 months project. Like, you need to have a agile solution which can be plugged and played, and that is possible only if you have a vendor who is a cloud uh, a specialist. At the same time, application is also built on the cloud platform, where if you do plug and play, do POC, do pilot fast, learn fast, take ownership from the business. Because when you do pilot with the help of business, which is done in 6, 7, 8 weeks, the
Yeah.
ownership is also there on the business lowest level, from operator to supervisor to whatever level. They start owning, because they really see, in couple of cases what I have found, they really see benefit, that their life has improved post this thing. One is cost component, but you, in a simple case of predictive maintenance, where the downtime has reduced, like, they know that when they will get alert. Otherwise they are awake 24/7, like a fire station. But whenever the incident happen, you have to be very quick to respond. So that is
That's
where
right.
I'm saying that
Correct.
value is coming. Same as real time monitoring of your trucks, vehicles which are moving across India. How do I do that? When is the expected time? So there are many cases.
Yeah.
And managements, you have to definitely look from 5 years point of view, from the cost, people, process, technology point of view, which is the one. And security is the first. That's the first thing, and then you move on. So definitely there are visible areas where you see lot of benefit in moving to a cloud environment in a step-by-step process, based on the organization vision, goal, and direction, actually.
One concluding question. This has been very interesting so far. One concluding questions. I'll also want to know that as we think about the migration versus modernization, what has been the strategy to engage with the hyperscalers directly, knowing that they are also very aggressive in order to innovate directly with the customers? And in doing so, the age-old ancillary companies which do operate as service provider, they still get to play in the services part of the cloud journey. So how much of the engagement directly we have with the hyperscalers versus with the SIs or the tier 2 organizations who typically come as either a managed service provider or hands and legs in execution.
Right. Yeah. So see, for us, the way we approach it is, what's the problem that you're trying to solve,
Yeah.
or again, what I mean, like Abhay also mentioned, what's the business directive over there, and once we are clear that okay, with all the components available, uh, uh, what is that we ultimately need to deliver? Once that's clear, then we ask ourselves a simple question: do we need to reinvent the wheel? Is there something which is available readily, which I can implement? And I mean,
Yeah.
I heard a very good statement which said, "Don't make good the enemy of perfect." and I said, okay. I mean, and that's the way you build something. It's like an MVP. You build the MVP and then you move forward. And usually we have seen all these people who come with this SaaS platforms, 80 to 90% our requirements are being met.
Correct.
So why should I go and I know a lot of offers come in saying we will work with you, we will build this for you. And the question is, have you done this before? And how successfully have you done it? If yes, we have and again, being from real estate background, we have too many things to do. We don't have time to spend on things where we all will be exploring. I think that's our take.
Right. And before we conclude, Mr. Abhay, if I can also hear from you, quick 30 seconds. What has been your preference with the vendor partners versus the hyperscalers engagement?
So it again depends. Like definitely, we went for a cloud first strategy or data first strategy. And if you have that kind of a goal and vision very clearly, then you can narrow down the hyperscaler or the SMEs or the SaaS module which you want to work. Because even if you talk about SaaS model, most of them are either using a top 3 hyperscalers only. So you are assured of the key component, and you focus more on the business growth, process optimization, and definitely you can, when you are on the hyperscaler, definitely you can ensure that right now we have multiple dev QA production, but in that case you can ensure that the dev is used only for 8 hours, and production is for 24 by whatever is your need, basically backup and all this is taken. So everybody one is buzzword outside that cloud first, yes, but all depends on your organization vision, goal and direction. And definitely cost is the key component, security being the very critical component. It's easy to say that we have a multi-cloud environment, but then it becomes challenge of integration of data movement. You have to standardize many things. You need to have a roles and responsibility very clearly defined. If it is hyperscaler also and SaaS application, who will do what and what is your role? So there are many things to be considered before moving it to any, and there are checklists available, or checklists you can define based on your organization need, criticality of data, and then start working.
Perfect. Thank you, Abhay and Girish. Let me just take a minute to quickly summarize. It will be beneficial. I'll try my best. We all believe that in order to choose between either a modernization or a lift and shift, there could be 3 prime criteria. Where to think over where your organization is and what's the nature and the adoption of the cloud in the current organization. What's the treatment to the cloud and the applications need to be given, keeping in mind what do you want to achieve as a business in the near term and short term. And third, I would use the word what Girish said, the tech fluency, not only within the CIO org, but also within the management to appreciate what it takes to work in the cloud-driven environment. So I think that's what I believe and I could collect from our collective interaction. Abhay, Girish, thank you very much for joining this afternoon. Pleasure speaking with you. Let me hand it over back to Ashwin. And thanks for all of us for having us over here today.